Fred and Barney Meet the Thing is an animated series produced by Hanna-Barbera that aired on NBC in the year 1979. Although the series was sold as a package show and featured both the Flintstones as well as the Marvel Comics character The Thing, the shows remain separate in terms of story, and they do not actually cross over with one another. The partnership between Marvel Comics and Hanna-Barbera allows them not only to have a marquee character from the Fantastic Four on their animated series, but also leads to Marvel Comics publishing their own Flintstones comic book series. However, the animated segments that featured The Thing were a far cry from the pages of Fantastic Four and Marvel 2-in-1 comic books coming to newsstands that year.
And now there's a storm coming, so hurry and change back into Benjy.
Benjy? Who's Benjy?
You're Benjy, and you're also the Thing.
Our main protagonist is a young teenage boy named Benjy Grimm, who, when placing two interconnecting rings together on either fist, would transform into the rocky orange powerhouse, The Thing, ever-loving, blue-eyed idol of millions. There's more than a bit of a nod to Billy Batson shouting his magic word Shazam and becoming Captain Marvel, as Benjy shouts out his own transformation phrase to become The Thing.
Thing ring, do your thing!
There's actually a clever little nod to the Hanna-Barbera animated series inside the pages of Future Foundation issue number 8, when pop star sensation Darla Deering, also known as Miss Thing, is provided similar rings to summon her own Thing-shaped battlesuit. However, Benjy doesn't appear to have rock star type money like Miss Deering, and is even a little nerdy. At times, he comes across like a down-on-his-luck Peter Parker.
Thanks for the cotton candy, Kelly. I'm so broke my pockets have cobwebs.
The first attempt at a solo comic book series for The Thing came in the year 1973 with a Hulk Thing brawl in the pages of Marvel Feature issue number 11. Eventually, a few months later, this series would be relaunched with a new number 1 as Marvel 2-in-1, a team-up book that featured The Thing as the lead character, teaming up with various heroes throughout the Marvel Universe. The title ran successfully for 100 issues until finally concluding by the year 1983. The Thing also had his very own self-titled ongoing series following the end of Marvel 2-in-1, which ran from 1983 to early 1986. One of my personal favorites that began in late 2005 was the short-lived Dan Slott-penned comic book series.
Yeah? Well, why not? After all, ain't I the idol of millions?
Even though we aren't made aware of the exact circumstance, there are suggestions throughout the series that our protagonist used to be the Ben Grimm we all know and love from the Fantastic Four. Only in this reality, some bizarre accident has turned him into a young teenage boy who can only unleash the Thing by way of his interlocking rings.
All right, Thing. If you insist, I'll try my experiment on you.
I'm insistent. I've had it being Benjy or Boulders. I want to be me again. Test pilot Ben Grimm.
As a small child, I always used to be under the misconception that Ben Grimm could change back and forth to the Thing at will. When I finally sat down and actually read Fantastic Four comic books, I quickly realized that Ben Grimm having an easily controllable transformation was simply a delusion of childhood. Or was it? Although I don't specifically remember watching this animated series as a child, Benjy's Thing ring transformations could have easily made that particular mark on my subconscious. Although I tend to place the blame on one of the Mego toys that my mother bought for me when I was very little, as his quote-unquote rocks were merely a cloth outfit placed over the existing Mego body type.
I better get my baby blues checked. I'm seeing things what ain't there.
The episode Decepto the Great takes the prize for the most transformations in a single episode, racking up 5 in total. However, the show mostly stuck to television formula, and Benjy would transform into the Thing once or twice in any given episode. Usually this was to save his supporting cast by performing great feats of strength.
Tell me, Professor Harkness, is this the real me? Benjy, a teenage pipsqueak? Or is this the real me? Thing ring, do your thing!
Am I Benjy, or am I an orange hunk of rock?
Try to understand, Benjamin. I'm doing the best I can to find the formula.
I'll try anything. Oops! I'm sorry about that, Professor.
Speaking of the supporting cast from the town of Centerville, Professor Harkness appears sporadically and would appear to be a stand-in for Reed Richards. If anyone was going to reverse the accident that spawned the Benjy Thing Ring dynamic, it would have to be him.
It takes research, Ben, and time. If we attempt an untested formula, it could make you even younger.
Younger?
You could end up wearing diapers.
Yuck! What a revolting development.
Harkness also has two daughters. The younger and spunkier of the two, Kelly Harkness, is in on Benjy's superheroic secret. Even though she's portrayed as somewhat of a tomboy, the audience can tell that she probably has a little crush on Benjy herself. Kelly Harkness's voice actress is Noelle North, who you might remember as Cubby Gummy of Disney's Gummy Bears cartoon, or the videographer Vivian Montgomery in Sunbow's Gem and the Holograms.
Yes, I generally eat dicks by putting them in my mouth.
I've never seen a human close up before.
They all expect me to keep topping myself each time out.
The elder and more fetching daughter, Betty Harkness, while more stuck up and self-obsessed, is clearly the object of Benjy's affections. These affections tend to bring into question who Benjy is exactly. He's not just a young version of Ben Grimm, because it makes you wonder why the actual Ben Grimm would want to manage Betty's run for homecoming queen, for instance. It seems fairly unlikely Ben Grimm would want to do such a thing, yet Benjy clearly does. They certainly seem like two distinct individuals rather than aspects of the same person.
Oh, that wonderful thing. Too bad you couldn't get him to appear here, Benjy. I guess that just destroys any hope you had of having a date with me.
Oh, I just remembered. He's out in the hall. Ring, ring, do your thing.
The beauty queen of Centerville High, Betty is your standard ingenue and often serves as the damsel in distress. When the show pits the Thing up against a faux King Kong archetype named JoJo, just like Kong, JoJo goes for the pretty girl and grabs Betty in the palm of his hand. Often after Betty has been rescued from peril, her praises tend to be some not-so-subtle nods to the team and comic book company the Thing hails from.
The thing is so strong, so marvelous, so fantastic.
Rounding off the typical quartet is Betty's hoity-toity boyfriend, Ronald Radford. Radford is the de facto, arrogant, rich jerk who brings to mind Reggie Mantle from the Archie comics and is expertly voiced by Prince Adam himself, John Irwin.
Nobody's perfect, though I'm very close. He-Man? Yes. Well, go ahead. He'll... I'll catch up.
Clearly, Betty Harkness is in it for the money.
Really, Betty, I don't understand what you see in a conceited, stuck-up character like Ronald.
Oh, he's got his good point.
You're a pizza ladies.
Charge it to Ronald Radford's account.
Uh-huh. I just got the point.
Beyond Professor Harkness, the only other adult presence is the absent-minded, tongue-tied Centerville High School principal, Miss Twilly. Normally, she serves as a clueless chaperone who facilitates the gang's trips to various locales throughout the course of the series. For the most part, Hanna-Barbera just smushed Waldo Weatherby and Geraldine Grundy together to create the most oblivious authority figure ever made.
Heads up, Miss Twilly. Ta-da! How do you like that?
When not busy saving the bacon of his supporting cast, the Thing can even be seen lifting entire caves like the Incredible Hulk in Secret Wars to save the hides of his reoccurring antagonists on this series, the Yancy Street Gang. In this animated series, the Yancy Street Gang is typically a trio of oafish bikers. Spike Hanrahan is the leader, who is usually coming up with nasty pranks and schemes to plague our regular cast of characters. His two goons, Stretch and Turkey, one skinny and one big, are both equally dim-witted and loyal to a fault. Turkey is generally characterized as being incapable of having an original thought and is often seen parroting whatever his leader Spike voices, much to Spike's chagrin.
Hey, okay, knock off the yapping and let me think.
Yeah, knock off the yapping and let him think.
The Yancy Street Gang are first mentioned by way of a taunting letter inside the pages of Fantastic Four, issue number 6, by the year 1962. A year later, the Yancy Street Gang can be seen giving the Thing some hometown harassment in the old neighborhood before he is called away to a mission within the pages of Fantastic Four, issue number 15. While generally just out of sight when playing pranks on the Thing, Yancy Street itself shows up on the Hanna-Barbera Fantastic Four animated television series from the year 1967 in the episode titled It Started on Yancy Street. Of course, this episode was directly adapted from the pages of Fantastic Four, issue number 29.
You Yancy yahoos! Come out and fight! Never!
Tom DeFalco and Paul Ryan first put some faces and names to the Yancy Street Gang inside the pages of A Christmas Story titled Miracle on Yancy Street from Fantastic Four, issue 361, by the year 1992. In the Incredible Hulk episode, titled Fantastic Fortitude, by the year 1996, the Yancy Street Gang continues to prank the Thing from the shadows. First, by sending him a fake invitation to the grand opening of a new zoo, and then witnessing his defeat at the hands of one of the leader's female minions, Ogress.
Gah! Them no good slandering Yancy Streeters. One of these days. Pow! To the moon, Alice!
Modern interpretations of the Yancy Street Gang have varied depending on the writer. Some have reimagined them as social protesters during Marvel's Civil War event, Ponzi scheme ripoff artists kicked out of Wall Street, or as a hacktivist group reminiscent of Anonymous, who hacked Darla Deering's phone inside the pages of Future Foundation issue number 6. However, instead of wearing Guy Fawkes masks, they wear masks of the Thing.
And both shadier than a Yancy Street Gang.
Generally speaking, there is usually some kind of rivalry or competition going on between the kids at Centerville High and the Yancy Street Gang. For instance, in the episode The Thing and the Queen, as incredible as it may seem, the Yancy Street Gang have their own homely girlfriends to run in the beauty pageant. Stretch nominates his gawky girlfriend Tessie. Turkey, of course, suggests his tiny butterball of a girlfriend Dottie, and eventually, of course, Spike runs his own gum-smacking lady love, Sophie. Say what you will about the Yancy Street Gang in this cartoon, but at least they respect helmet safety, as both Spike and his girlfriend have helmets while riding his motorcycle. Oddly, the Yancy Street Gang clubhouse is still around in this episode, even though it was already wrecked by a runaway bulldozer in an earlier episode. Spike may be the leader, but he ends up creating a bit of a monster as Sophie becomes more and more demanding throughout the course of the episode.
Vote for Betty. Whatever happened to vote for Sophie?
Tell that bitch to be cool!
Be cool, Dollface. I already got it figured out.
Say, bitch, be cool! Be cool, honey! Say, bitch, be cool! Tell that fucking bitch to chill!
One of the other troublemakers the Thing faces off against is the shady carnival barker P.T. Bombast, who comes across like Harry Mudd from the original Star Trek or Quark over on Deep Space Nine. Although his talking parrot quickly figures out Benjy's secret identity, he is still annoying as hell, and gave me post-traumatic flashbacks of Needles from the Conan animated series.
I know something you don't know. I know something you don't know.
Ripe and red.
Pomegranates? Oh, Needle want pomegranates!
Not now!
I'll take one.
Needle take one too.
I'm supposed to keep you a secret.
Sorry, it's my parrot.
Another evildoer worth a mention is Manfred von Reckerstein, who is billed as the world's greatest demolition expert, but comes across like Hanna-Barbera's version of V for Vendetta. He's simply a terrorist who destroys buildings with people inside, but luckily for his victims, this is merely cartoon violence, which results in a weird sequence where a naked lady is exposed in her bathtub.
That is not a disaster. This is a disaster.
In the episode Double Trouble for the Thing, the age-old trope of the evil robot double rears its ugly head, and the Thing faces off against a robotic duplicate created by an evil scientist, Bantom Blackwood. The robot doppelganger in the episode kinda sounds like Otis from Superman the movie, and even Blackwood's defenses kinda remind me of the cutscene from Superman the movie.
Nothing can stop the electronic genius of Bantam Blackwood now!
You said it, Mr. Blackwood.
While he wasn't robotic, a nightmarish, distorted mirror image of the Thing appears in the pages of Fantastic Four, issue number 203 from the year 1979. Also, in the 1992 crossover event Infinity War, doppelgangers, who intend to replace their originals, attack the Fantastic Four, and the Thing faces off against his doppelganger and defeats him inside the pages of Fantastic Four, issue 367.
Nobody's gonna drag my good name to a sewer.
Ultimately, while the show has a number of positives, such as a talented group of voice actors and a good grasp of the power level of the star character, it can become bogged down in repetitive formula that has been cannibalized or outright stolen from other successful properties, such as Scooby-Doo, Archie Comics, Shazam, Wacky Races, and Super Friends, to name a few. The contender for the worst episode of the series is titled The Day the Ring Didn't Do a Thing. For one, Benjy tries to smack talk a tornado instead of just transforming outright and taking care of the natural disaster in the making. I can already hear my dad's standard commentary on forced dramatic hesitation in my head.
Just wait till I put my rings together. The thing's gonna twist you out of shape.
Stop talking about it and do it already! In addition, there are some less than sensitive Asian stereotypes where Kelly cosplays as a waiter in a Chinese restaurant.
Humble thing, glad to help, pretty lady.
Professor Harkness certainly attempts to undo the very premise of the series in the episode To Thing or Not to Thing. And while there are some wacky side effects with orange skin tone and random transformations, although they try to cure him, it never actually takes. I realize I probably shouldn't expect any sense of closure from a children's cartoon made in this era, but I did find myself somewhat disappointed regardless. The series tries to meet Archie and superhero stuff halfway, but doesn't ever succeed. They can't decide if they want to focus on the teeny bopper pedestrian antics with field trips to the beach, winter locales, and beauty queen pageants, or if the main draw of the series is the superhero power trip fantasy of a scrawny kid becoming an idolized orange powerhouse made of rocks. The majority of the episodes are okay cartoons when taken on an individual case-by-case basis, but I wouldn't recommend binge watching this show if you want to retain your sanity.
What a revolting development.